Here I am again to show you something new. A brand new day to make a video just for you. Now it's time to start, and I am hoping that you all enjoyed the show on Chase Ace 51272.0. Hey there YouTube, and welcome to another new list video I've got for you today. Now I know it's been a really long time since my last list video. However, the format of this list is still going to run similar to what I've done in the past. And speaking of which, today's list is going to be about my top 10 favorite Baby Einstein 2004 re-releases. Now just like my previous list videos, this video will also have, say it with me now, clarifications. First, my opinion towards the videos will not count towards page turns, the transitions, the text fonts at the end credits, or the toy manufacturers listed. And in order for me to be as fair as possible, I'm going to compare the 2004 versions to the absolute earliest being late 2000, because anything prior to 2000 would, for me, be a one-sided opinion. For example, the 1998 version versus 2004 version of Baby Mozart, that would be a one-sided opinion. So I want to be as fair as I possibly can be towards this list. And just like my videos as well, it is going to be very opinionated, and I'm hoping that all of you will respect my opinion towards this ranking. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get started. Here we go! Baby Newton. After doing some counting of the number of changes made, I realized that this video only had 9 changes, while only 5 of them were toy changes. Well, sort of. One of my favorite changes actually was the silver version of the Musical Land airplane toy. Now, the reason why is because the propellers were actually more visible to see for the circle shape compared to the original version. But my least favorite change, as some of you may have already guessed, and my goodness me, I cannot get this song out of my head. Callie Moore's version of I Know My Shapes. Oh yes I do. No. Enough of that, please. Please. No more. I don't know why they made this change to begin with. I never really liked Callie Moore's version. I mean, maybe Disney changed it because they wanted to make the song more appealing to children, I guess, and maybe Jack Moss's version wasn't cutting it. But I liked Jack Moss's version growing up, which, again, to me, it feels a little bit weird. And Callie Moore's version, to me, was so bad that it's the reason it was number 10 on this list. Baby Santa's Music Box. The 2004 version of this video had a lot of changes, and by a lot, I mean the total number of scene changes that were present was a total of 35 changes, and there were 27 different toys that were seen in this video as well. And out of all of the changes made, my personal favorite actually was the Blue Tower Windmill toy that was seen throughout the We Wish You a Merry Christmas music video. But my least favorite change, in my opinion, was the Rocking Roller Santa Skiers toy that was seen after the Penguin Cone puppet scene. And I'm not sure why they made that change to begin with, because in my opinion, the Holly Jolly Rocking Santa Cowboy toy was one of my favorite toys because of how it was dancing in sync to the intermission music before having to move on to the next scene with Rudy the Reindeer. It never really stuck with me growing up as a child, even though I had it for a really long time. I never really got used to that scene, and I just never understood why they made that change to begin with. Baby Bach Musical Adventure. The total number of scene changes for this video totaled to 21 changes, and only 10 of them were actually toy changes. Now, the music for me is really calm and relaxing, but I'm really focusing on the different changes overall for this video. With that being said, my favorite one actually was the Turbo Tower Tops toy that replaced the Hydro Gyro. Now, Hydro Gyro, without a doubt, will always be a classic to me, but the Turbo Tower Tops actually was really interesting to watch because of the fact that they were stacking on top of one another, and first time watching it ever, it caught me completely off guard, and it was just something that I really enjoyed watching. However, the biggest letdown for me was the replacement of the Wonderland Bear Band toy when they had the 3 other dolls, which were the Fox Hunt Man with horn, the Drummer Boy, and the Salvation Army woman with a horn. I have no idea why they had, in the right mind, included those toys into the video. Those toys were really creepy to me, and I don't know why they thought it was a good idea for them to have it fit into the music video. Maybe just because they had instruments and so did the bears, but other than that, it was a really dumb change in my opinion, and I don't know why they stuck with that one either. Language Nursery. This one was a very interesting video to see just because of the different types of changes. Not all of them were necessarily toy changes, but there were 29 scene changes and 23 toy changes. With these changes, some of them actually included a brand new logo for the video, which is actually really interesting to see. And another change was closer to the end of the video actually, where they had the Spanish speaker count from 1 to 20 instead of 1 to 10 from the original versions of the videos. Now, my favorite toy change overall actually was a callback to another toy from the original, the Alien Orbiter. That one was my favorite just because of the familiarity of the toy. While the worst change for me happened to be the new doll faces that they used. I don't know, I never really was a fan of the doll face scene to begin with, but the fact that they added more to the video was just, not necessarily for me. It's not very bad, but it's bad, for me at least. Baby Beethoven's Symphony of Fun. This video actually did not have very many changes overall. That being said, there were only 6 scene changes, and there were only 2 new toys seen overall. Now, even though there were only 2 new toys, I actually do have a favorite and a least favorite between those 2. My favorite actually was the pop-up Teddy's toy that was seen replacing the wagon with the blocks. That one was my favorite because I was anticipating somebody activating the toys at first when I first watched it, popping up after they pushed their respective buttons. But what I was not expecting was actually seeing them pop back down into their starting positions. But my least favorite was the Banana Slug pull toy, because I thought that the inchworm pull toy in the original version was unique in its own right, and it felt like a little bit of a repeat towards a later toy in the same music video for Symphony No. 3. Neighborhood Animals. This version of the video had the least amount of changes possible, so small that I can count all the changes off of one hand. That being said, there were a total of 5 scene changes and only 2 new toys that were seen in the video. The first change actually was noticeably the new Neighborhood Animals logo, and 2 other changes actually happened in some of the stock footage that was seen in some of the animal music videos. The first clip for the mouse and the first clip for the duck music videos. Very minor, but still noticeable enough for me to point out. Of the 2 toy changes, my least favorite was the Relina activity toy replacing Mousetrap. Why would you replace Mousetrap? I thought that one was the most iconic toy. I actually owned a Mousetrap board game growing up when I was younger, but the fact that they can replace it for this video, to me, is so unforgiving. Now, I do not have a favorite change overall for this video, because The duck finger puppet that was seen at the end of the music video was not as impactful as it had in the original version for 2001. Baby Mozart Music Festival. I know some of you may be a little bit surprised as to why I put it down at number 4, but I'll explain why in just a second. First, there were a total of 22 scene changes and 14 toy changes. However, not all of these changes included new toys. Some of these changes came from some notable parts of the video. For example, the Lamaze stacking rings, when they removed the pig toy, they just ended up reversing the first clip of that video, which was surprising to me. Another change, which was appropriate for this version of the video, was that they had to replace Mozart the bear with the koala for this version of the video. And another third noticeable change for me was that they used a language nursery pinwheel clip for this video instead of using the original version. Even though it's the same toy, that just bothered me for some reason because I knew it looked familiar towards language nursery than it did for this one. My favorite new toy that was seen was the Venus Kinetic Mobile clip, which, as a matter of fact, some of you may know that I actually own this toy right now as we speak. However, I have two least favorite toys. The first one was the Symphony Sounds Musical Pals Dragon toy, and then the other least favorite for me was the fiber optic butterfly, because I did not think that toy fit with the music video at the time, and I just thought that the original versions were much better than the toys that replaced them. Baby Van Gogh World of Colors. There were a total of 14 scene changes in this video, while there were only 6 toy changes overall. My personal favorite of the new toys was the Deluxe F1 Level 5 Ramp Racer. This one was a really cool alternative to what we originally got in Baby Van Gogh. Even though it didn't necessarily sync with the sound effects, I thought it was a pretty cool toy to see. On the other hand, my least favorite toy change was the Shufflebug finger puppets. The original finger puppets, in my opinion, even though some may find them creepy, to me, they were a really interesting and really funny part of the video, and I just never understood why they replaced them. A lot of the changes actually were very good, especially when, at the beginning of the video, they fixed the green screen effects when introducing Vincent. In 2000, the green paint was not visible and you only saw through Vincent, while in this version, you can actually see more paint splattered on him thanks to the fixed effects. The biggest letdown for me, actually, for this one was they removed the pictures at an exhibition at the end, which to me made no sense. I thought that would have been really interesting to see. Other than that, I thought this one was still really good, and it still maintains its good quality overall for me. Baby Shakespeare World of Poetry. This video overall had 10 scene changes and 6 toy changes. Even though this video also did not have a lot of changes, some of them were actually pretty significant. For example, the flower puppet show had to be redone because in the original scene, the flower toy was also seen in Baby Bach, and they removed it in that video as well. And so they had to maintain the continuity for the 2004 re-releases. However, my favorite toy change overall actually was in the train music video with the Gears, Gears, Gears Dizzy Funland toy. There was a lot of moving parts to it when I first saw it, and it was really intriguing to see. However, my least favorite change was the Dancing Teddy Push-Along toy. I just thought that the original pop-up toy, in my opinion, was more intriguing than the new change in 2004. I could not really get over the fact that at the end of the video, the children's names were removed, and I thought that it was only appropriate that they receive credit for the video as well, and I wasn't sure why they made that change. And Marky Scholes, the puppeteer for the video, was not seen in the video either, which was also pretty surprising to me. Some other unique changes though was when they introduced the word cow. As soon as Bard cut away, he was still moving during that transition, which was not visible in the original video. And I just thought that some of these changes were very unique in their own way, and I thought it was really cool to see for the 2004 re-releases. And now for the moment of truth. World Animals. This is one of my favorite 2004 re-releases just because the flow of the video felt like it never changed all throughout, despite the number of changes. That being said, there were 9 scene changes and 6 toy changes that only occurred within 2 scenes of the video. The first one were the stuffed animals scene at the beginning of the video after the opening credits, and my least favorite change of the 2 was the wind-up sidestepping turtle that replaced Mr. Bubbles. Mr. Bubbles had its own sound effects for the video. Now, even though that was my least favorite change, there were plenty of other good changes that I saw throughout the video as well. Of course, that being a brand new logo for the video, the new high-quality pictures that were seen throughout the video, and some of the character artwork was also changed as well. Of course, the most notable one was for Beethoven the giraffe, because they had to use a different version to maintain the continuity, and the puppeteer moving when the My World screen was popping in. You could see just mid-transition that the puppeteer was pulling its arm away with the puppet at hand, and that was another cool detail to see as well. Even though this still had the same vibe throughout World Animals, this is my favorite re-release just because of the fact that even though to me it felt like there were not too many changes, it still did a really good job with maintaining the flow of the video, and I really loved watching it when I was younger as well. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed this new list video, and if you haven't seen my other 2 list videos, I'm going to put the links to them right on the screen for you right now. The most recent list, of course, is my top 10 favorite characters/animals, and of course my original top 28 Baby Einstein videos. If you haven't seen either of them, you can click on them right now, and you can also click on the subscribe button to show your support as well. It would definitely be most appreciated. Until then, I hope to see you all again very, very soon.